Welcome to a Celtic State of Mind. My name's John Dykes, and today I am joined by Eddie Clarke. Eddie, it's an absolute pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thanks, it's a pleasure to be here.
You're going to give us a live session today. We've had probably, I think, 4 or 5 up to now. It's one of my favourite parts of a Celtic State of Mind is getting musicians into the studio and playing some tracks. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you have for us. And we'll also talk about your love of Celtic, your Celtic upbringing. What's your earliest memories of being a Celtic fan?
Well, the first massive memory of Celtic was the 100 Scottish Cup final, attending that with my dad, my uncle Eddie and my brother. That was massive, you know, like, for that to be my first reminder of Celtic. Such a huge game in the way we won it and the fans that day, you know, there was no turning back then, you know, when you experience something like that. But aye, that's the first memory that sticks out. I'd been to Celtic Park before that with my dad as a really young child, but that's what sticks out. Hampden that day, 100 Scottish Cup final.
My dad lost a samba at that game. Behind the goals. Not sure what goal it was. I think it was actually Proven's free kick. Lost a samba. Aye.
Well, there must have been 100,000 pairs of samba in the stands that day, 1985.
Aye. Now listen, Eddie, talk to us about your football upbringing. You come from a footballing family, don't you?
I do. As early as I remember, I could play football. I don't remember learning it. I don't, getting shown how to play football. I was always out with a football and stuff. My dad was a footballer at that time. It was junior football, by the time I can remember. My big cousin Stevie, who's Scotland manager now, he was a St Mirren player. My big cousin Paul, Stevie's brother, he was a Kilmarnock player. Everything was football in my household. Everything was to do with football. And obviously, as I got a bit older and stuff, learning that my dad had been on Celtic's books as well, around about that 66, 67 kind of era. An absolutely massive time for the club, and it's great. It's great just for him to have been involved in that kind of stuff at that time.
The thing as well, Eddie, going back a wee bit myself, there was a brilliant picture, a group of young Celtic guys that went over to Italy in 1968. And my first job was to find out who they were. Yeah. Looking at this, it was a Celtic youth team, under 18s I think it was. Yeah. And one of the guys I didn't know instantly was your old fella, Jim Clarke. But after speaking to Danny McGrain and John Murray and a few of the others, they started naming all the other chaps. So I made it my mission to track the 19 guys down who were at that tournament and interview them. So about 9 years ago I spoke to your old fella. And like what you're saying, he was very humble. Didn't court attention or even the fact that he played for Celtic. Yeah. He didn't break through to the first team. Yeah. He was highly, highly rated. What was the reasons for him? Was it just the sense of quality at that time? Well,
definitely, it's the greatest ever Celtic club, but probably one of the greatest clubs ever in Europe. Around about that time, and how's your luck for that time where you're coming through as a young boy signing on for school? My dad and Lou McCarry signed for St Michael's Academy in Kilwinning at the same time, and to try and break into that team, it's like nigh on impossible. But I think it ended. I've got a photograph in an old Celtic view of my dad sitting there with his broken leg with Billy McNeil and I think it's Bobby Murdoch on the other side of him. And after that he struggled to get back in, and he went down south to Cambridge City. He left to go to Cambridge City.
Thinking back to when I spoke to him, I think it must have been 9 years ago now.
I remember it.
And Jim was telling me that he played right up to quite an old age. Was it junior football into his 40s?
He was a player manager at junior football, a lot of the Ayrshire junior teams. He played well into his 40s at a junior level, and I know he started playing in over 35s leagues and stuff like that, right up to maybe 55 or something like that, 56.
That's incredible, eh?
Yeah. Aye.
Stevie Clarke was always a player, when I think back, that I wanted to sign for Celtic. Yeah. I wanted him to be a Celtic man, and I never knew he's kind of, even at that time I didn't know he was related to your old fella who played with Celtic. Yeah. You must be very proud of the fact that he's now the national team manager. How do you see that kind of panning out? What's going to change?
Obviously, like what you seen at Kilmarnock last year and what we seen at the English clubs he went to, he shuts up shop. He gets a solid defence and he works out for that. We'll leak less goals, which is obviously an issue with Scotland, and I think we'll start to develop players and build the confidence. Maybe it'll be some ugly looking kind of games, but it'll be shutting that back door, do you know what I mean? To 7 goals all the time, do you know what I mean? That's the kind of manager he'll be, and obviously that comes from his philosophy of playing as a fullback. You were mentioning there you would have loved to see him at Celtic. I remember the days when Celtic were talking about being interested in him, and I'm sure they wouldn't pay £1 million for him back then. You know, and obviously as a Celtic supporter, I always wanted Stevie to go to Celtic. Then there was talk before Ronnie Delia that Stevie was in the running for that, but I started to get nervous, you know. I was like, how will it work out? You know, it's a massive job. And then obviously there was talk there before he took the Scotland job, before Lennon got the job and stuff. So he's always been like that, but I would have loved to have seen him there as a player.
Your other great love is music. Celtic and music intrinsically linked. Does that just go back to our Irishness?
Definitely. I grew up listening to all sorts of music, you know. I grew up in the 90s when there was like a kind of rave scene. I never really enjoyed that type of music. It was always more kind of Happy Mondays, Stone Roses, all that kind of music, you know. But when I got to that age, 13, 14, when I would start going to Celtic games with my mates and getting up in the bus and stuff like that, there's something about that kind of music, you know, like the Irish music or the Celtic songs or stuff. It still gives me a rush through my body today, you know. And I've went through listened to a lot of different types of music, but that's always been a constant.
It's part of your match day experience, of getting ready, the tunes you're playing, the pals gathering, getting the music on, getting on the bus and all that. It's part of the whole day.
It definitely is. And when you think back to going to the early games, if you're not from Glasgow and you're going in the bus, that is a massive part of it. And I mean, the musicianship, when you go back to some of these old bands that are singing Irish tunes, traditional Irish folk songs, I think they call them.
Folk songs, yes.
Yes. And the voices, I mean, Luke Kelly.
Yeah.
When you listen to Luke Kelly, the guy was an absolute genius.
Amazing. I'm listening a lot just now, and I always have done, but Christy Moore, you know, absolutely blows me away. And going to see him in Glasgow, you know, it's something else experience, you know. It's just silence, just sitting listening to that music. It's just, you know, that gets me all the time. I can listen to all the kind of music that I would listen to, like kind of indie music or whatever, but going to gigs like that, you know, I'm getting old as well, so I like to sit in silence rather than jumping about the Barrowlands with pints flying everywhere.
You see, when you talk about the upsurge in that type of music that you were talking about earlier, you know, the indie scene, if you like, and I don't like calling it indie. I mean, it was independent because a lot of the bands were on independent labels, but a lot of these bands, Oasis particularly, they had the Irish roots as well. I mean, they had that rebel background. Noel Gallagher's dad used to, you know, DJ at Irish clubs. So you've got Manny with the Irish background, Johnny Marr, Bonehead at Oasis. These guys have got these Irish links as well, and they're all fantastic musicians.
Definitely. Did Noel state that what gives Oasis that punch in their sound was due to listening to Irish music, you know, listening to
the Rebs.
Then it shows you, there's an old documentary, Oasis one, when Liam Gallagher's back in Manchester, and they drive by the record shop, and he says he used to buy his old Wolf Tones records in there.
Was it Sifters?
At Sifters.
That's incredible, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he would admit that now, or do you think he would?
Definitely. I don't think he would hold back.
We were just talking, Eddie, before we came in about Liam. Almost a resurrection, Liam Gallagher, and we were talking about the documentary that came out from Liam's camp recently. Where is that pendulum swinging? Are you in the Noel camp or the Liam camp, or are you allowed to be in both?
Yeah, I'm not really one for I want Oasis back together, and I like this one over the other one, but definitely Liam was the front man, wasn't he? He had the swagger, he had the style, and I always want Liam to do well, you know. See, when he's bringing out songs and new albums, I want them to be good for him, you know. I know he went through a difficult time. Noel's the most talented, isn't he? It's easy for him to churn out songs and sell albums and stuff, but I prefer Liam's sound at the moment. That's true. If I try to like listen to Noel's newer stuff, it's not really my style, you know. So I'm behind Liam a wee bit more, but there isn't any, you know, there isn't like a camp.
Laura, Liam Gallagher, when you watch that documentary, you want him to win. You want him to actually succeed, don't you?
I'm more on his side, Liam's side for sure.
Is Noel sold out a wee bit?
I think he has. I think he doesn't want that kind of following. You know, he's made that pretty clear, hasn't he? He's wanting to try something else and get a different kind of following, you know. I think he's getting older himself, hasn't he? You know, it's like not really wanting that kind of following anymore, which is a bit of a sellout, isn't it? It's a bit of a sellout because it was the people that he's trying to pull away from that actually made him, you know. So all that kind of growing up in council estates, and he's for the people and stuff like that. I think he's maybe lost a wee bit of that, as you would maybe with a lot of the amounts of money you're talking there and the kind of company you're keeping in that kind of life.
I think the company's massive, isn't it?
Aye.
I mean, and they're all influencing the way you think, because you're in a certain circle. I think I remember Liam mentioning that, you know, the changing room, there was people in there who were working for the Sun, and Liam saying, I'm not happy with that, but they were pals with Noel, and you've got all that circle of friends thing going on. And I don't think it's important if they get back together. It would be good for them to reconcile as brothers as much as anything else. So Oasis, the Happy Mondays, the Stone Roses, what other kind of bands would you say influenced your kind of musical taste, and also your musical kind of songwriting yourself, Eddie?
Yeah, I've not really been writing that long, you know. Had a lot of kind of issues in my life, let's say, you know, that kind of led me down this path, you know, and the people who were there for me just happened to be musicians, you know, and they really encouraged me, because I always said I would love to do that. I was like, I write songs, but I've never had any kind of gift musically or attempted to sing them, and they would always encourage me, you know, like the guys through there, Mark especially through there. A lot of people I met that helped me at that time in my life were musicians, and they just kept encouraging me. So a lot of my influence is going to come from Stone Roses, Oasis and stuff like that, you know, but I don't think that my sound particularly copies MD or kind of thing, you know, because I've got a really varied kind of music taste, you know. Bob Dylan, you know, is the greatest of all time in my book, you know. I was at Florence and the Machine the other night, which wasn't really my choice, that was my wife's. But I just love music, you know, that, and obviously that kind of folk kind of sound as well, you know, when you're talking about the Starry the Sea song for Bobby Lennox and stuff. It's influenced by that, isn't it? It's influenced by the songs you hear on the terraces. It's, you know, it's like a lot of influences there.
1, 2, 3,
There's a legend down our way. He once wore the green. You'll know him as the Buzz Bomb. Glasgow Celtic, his team. From Ardea to paradise, a young Lennox he would go. He met with some lions there who brought us 9 flags in a row. Bobby Lennox, the star of the sea. Bobby Lennox, thank you for making a dream. In the sunshine of Lisbon, the Celts went all out on attack. With Gemmell and Chalmers, they made sure the big cup came back. Bobby Lennox, the star of the sea. Bobby Lennox, thank you for making a dream.
'67. In the heat of Lisbon, the fans came in the thousands to see the boys become champions. '67. In the heat of Lisbon, the fans came in the thousands to see the boys become champions, champions.
We'll talk about the Bobby Lennox song. What I liked about it, Eddie, was the fact that it didn't sound like a typical football song. I mean, there's like a generic pattern if someone tries to write an official club song.
Yeah.
And it didn't sound like that at all. It was, as you say, there was the kind of folk influence all the way through it. Talk to us about where you're from and how important Bobby was to you. Obviously, your dad's ex-teammate.
Yeah.
Ultimately, and how it came about that you got involved with the fundraising for the statue of Bobby Lennox.
Yeah, well, Bobby Lennox was, just now I can only really appreciate Bobby's achievements. Growing up in Salkits, he was my dad's teammate. I played football with his sons. Bobby owned a pub down the street. He was close friends with my dad as well. On top of that, they go to the Seymour Hydro together for a sauna and stuff like that.
Do they still do the Seymour Hydro thing, aye?
My dad's up there every day.
Brilliant.
Every morning, do you know what I mean? Keeping in the old Celtic tradition.
Yeah.
And Bobby's up, and now and again, my dad always tells me when he sees Bobby up there. So to see Bobby or to talk to Bobby, it wasn't a biggie, growing up. How I got involved with that, I know everybody on the committee, especially Caroline, and I seen it starting to pick up momentum. It was always mentioned in Salkit, something like that, something to, whether it was going to be a statue or some other thing for Bobby Lennox because of his achievements. So I started to see through social media that the ball was really rolling with this stuff. And I'm not a great guitarist. I write songs. I can play a couple of chords and I write songs in the house using my guitar. And at first I thought, I need to do something for that. And I was going to run. I was running a lot at the time. And I was going to run 10Ks on the trot, for a bit of sponsorship and stuff. And I couldn't be bothered doing that.
That sounds like a bit of a commitment, eh?
Aye. So I wrote a song, and it was a very rough song, very, very rough. And I sent it across to the committee, and they loved it. Yeah. I knew it was a good idea, but I didn't know if that song was going to be good enough and stuff. And they said that they loved it, and they shared that rough video of that online. I was like, oh no. But I got a good response, and my friend Mark, who's through with me today, he's got a recording studio at home, and I just approached him and I says, Mark, you up for doing this? And he said, definitely. So that's how it came about, but whether it was a song, whether I went out and did sponsorship money, however it was, I had an input in the Lennox statue. It was close to my heart that I had to do something for that, and it's such an amazing thing that they achieved, and such an amazing day when we seen you down there. It was some Salkit's turned into somewhere else for me. It was something else. Walking out the town hall and the crowd and stuff. It was an absolutely magical day, and the way me and my wife were treating me down there and stuff after it was beautiful.
That was incredible that day, wasn't it?
Yep.
I was so overjoyed to just be there and see it. And I mean, when we talk about statues, Laura, there's been a few people over the last few years who were mooted as being subjects of statues. The Celtic way now is where Celtic fans converge and meet. And do you think there should be more statues up there? And if so, who should be the subject?
I don't know, it's a tough one, isn't it?
It's like a
Who else
mausoleum.
would you?
I know. Brendan Rodgers was noted a few times. But I think the plans have been scrapped.
Aye. I sure they have.
I'm sure folk would like to make a few statues about him.
Aye.
The ones you punch or something.
Exactly, aye. I think they get vandalised. But, I mean, you mentioned the Lions earlier. I was speaking to Danny McGrain recently, just name-dropping Danny like he's my buddy or something.
Yeah.
And I said, the point is Celtic won the European Cup. Great, everybody knows that. But that team, and I keep saying this, in 12 seasons, on 9 occasions they made at least the quarter-finals of the European Cup. 9 out of 12. That was a European superpower. So for your dad not to break in, particularly with the leg break, because I remember that really did hinder him. It was no great shame, and I think players around about that era would have made it in any other era.
Definitely.
Celtic were so strong. But why not have a Lisbon Lion in every one of their hometowns?
Yeah.
You know, why not have a statue in every one?
Aye.
That would be good.
Yeah.
But it costs so much, doesn't it? How much was it? Was it 80 grand or something?
Aye. And I think I really respect the way they went about it, because Celtic came in saying, we'll help you with that, and they says, no, we want to do it. The people of Saltcoats and stuff like that, and I've got great respect for that and how they went about it, do you know what I mean? So outside in the Celtic way and stuff like that, if you were starting to put, you would have to put the full Lisbon Lion team there, wouldn't you, as a squad?
You would.
You would have to.
Now, talking about music as well, there's a wee 4-leaf clover.
Yep.
Should that not be a permanent bandstand, Eddie, on match day?
Aye, for sure.
Yeah.
That'd be
love
incredible. It'd be brilliant. But then
Yeah.
they need to start selling drink,
Aye.
you know, and that's a big issue.
If
outside
somebody
the game.
tells Celtic how much money they'll make for selling drink, I think they might do it.
They do it, aye.
Yeah.
But I mean, a different band every week would gladly go and play.
I think Celtic as a club and a business and events and stuff like that, it's going to keep growing, isn't it? You know, we're really on fire just now, and on the park and off it, you know, and obviously there's talks of hotels and stuff like that, you know, and it's about bringing the money in, isn't it, to get into the club and stuff, which we need to move with the times, don't we? We need to go with the times, you know what I mean? And it's like whatever Celtic can do for match day entertainment and stuff like that, I believe who we've got at Celtic and who's going to do that.
The second song we're going to be hearing today from you, Eddie, is Saltcoats Shore. Could you tell us a wee bit about that song?
Aye, it was a song. It's a song about growing up in Saltcoats. When I sing it and when I was writing it, I'm thinking about the kind of teenage years, growing up in Saltcoats. You know, it was a big thing for us in Saltcoats to go down, obviously the beach or the shore or stuff with our carryouts and stuff like that. It was good times, you know. There's good times at the weekends and feeling free and stuff like that. But the song's got a wee bit of kind of darker edge to it, where that kind of attitude, you know, that I took through my life, you know, Saltcoats kind of beat me. It beat me, you know, living that kind of way. And for a lot of my life, I kind of pointed the finger at Saltcoats, a finger of blame, you know, for the kind of place it was and stuff like that. But that's what mainly the song's about, you know. It's being happy in Saltcoats growing up and being around people. Then similar to what happened in my life, you know, I ended up very alone and kind of in a dark place. So that's what the song's about, and I think that kind of comes across, you know. It's a kind of slow kind of, you know, it's a kind of dark song.
But see, those experiences, how great is it for you to be able to encapsulate them in song now?
Brilliant, because this is all the stuff that's rattling about in my head, you know, and obviously I keep speaking about kind of a dark time in my life and stuff like that, and that's been a 5.5 years I've been away for that now, where I went and got some help and stuff like that. So I've got a busy head, let's say, you know. There's a lot of stuff in there, and I believe that getting that stuff out, whether it's speaking to someone or getting it down in paper, do you know what I mean? It really benefits me. And being creative, you know, I was always into art and music, obviously, you know, even sport or football stuff, you know, just being creative, you know, it's an amazing outlet for me. And I could write songs to the cows come home, but now I'm trying to practice more about and playing instruments and try so I can do that on my own, you know. So obviously I need the guys' help now, you know, to play and sing together. But it's massive to be creative.
Sitting waiting for the clouds to pass on the rocks on Saltcoats Shore. All the dreams we had just fall apart. Time stripped me to the core. Thinking of the days when we were young, back when life it seemed so kind. Reminiscing of the songs we sung I just can't drink you out my mind. And I keep on falling on this shore over you. And I keep on falling on these shores because of you. By me like yesterday, we'd have the whole world in our hands. Mine is littered with those words you say, just like the debris on this sand. With my soul you've gone and sailed away. Like two ships at night I'm blind. Dark streets, my home another night. I just can't smoke you out my mind. And I keep on falling on this shore over you. And I keep on falling on these shores because of you. And I keep on falling on this shore over you. And I keep on falling on these shores because of you.
You were talking about memories, 85 Cup final, not being your first game, but being a moment that you know you realised there was no turning back. My first game was in 1987, Tommy Burns testimonial. Laura, what was your first match?
Well, I can't remember my first game.
No.
I've asked my dad, and I just know it was a European night, so it would have been like mid-80s, and he can't remember. I need to ask a guy that my dad used to work for at the time, because he would have took us, but I know it was a European evening game.
Even in the 80s though, we had some good runs in Europe, you know. There's some fantastic nights like Sporting Lisbon at Celtic Park. Very unlucky against Nottingham Forest, you know, after getting a good result in there. And I just think when we moved into the 90s, I was more of a kind of 90s kid, a bit like yourself in terms of music, the football, and what we were being served up at Celtic Park was depressing. So when you look at that compared to where we are now, Eddie, I mean, at the end of last season, somebody actually said to me, tongue in cheek, treble, still disappointed. I mean, where does this attitude come from, Eddie?
I don't know. I'm not the greatest on social media, and I see a lot of things on there, you know, that really get my back up and stuff like that. Sometimes I bite, sometimes I don't, you know, but I know they've got this saying that Celtic dies and all that kind of stuff now, but that's when I went to games home and away. It was during the 90s, you know, when I was telling you earlier, going to games with your mates, leaving school early to get the bus up to Dundee and stuff on a Wednesday night, you know, that was... It was dire. It was dire, you know. And I think to having experienced that, then I can really appreciate what we've got, you know, especially around about... I was out when Larson and Bratback scored against St Johnstone to stop... I don't know what to call it, stop them to get a league title. And for then, things started to improve. Season ticket holder during Martin O'Neill's era, you know, which was great times, you know. Really, then you're really appreciating how the club got turned around and what Fergus McCann did for the club, you know. He's kind of a bigger picture of the future for Celtic and stuff like that, then obviously it's been success. Remember, there's going to be guys going to the games now who've probably got a bigger voice than us, and they're right in amongst it, and they've known his success.
That's right. That's right. To be born into that kind of success, I mean, it's difficult not to take it for granted, but when Lennon came back in at the end of last season and it was announced after the Scottish Cup final, people were moaning about it.
I know.
We just won a treble, and folk were moaning that Lennon had been announced.
Football changed with Rodgers. He made sure we got all the trophies, but the football changed. And if you ask the fans truthfully, even the ones that's moaning about Lennon coming back, they didn't enjoy the football. You're winning these games, you're getting the points up on the board, but the football became flat, didn't it? Obviously the finals get exciting and stuff like that, but there was a lot of games throughout the season where it was difficult.
It was a grind.
Aye, it's a grind. Possession. It's not all about possession, and it's no the Celtic way that I know, where it's attack. You maybe lose a couple at the back and stuff like that, but we go up with that park and score more goals. So Lennon stated that through the close season and stuff, that's the style he wants to play, the Celtic way, and more attacking and stuff. And I'm delighted that he's come out and said that, and so should the fans who've been moaning for it for the last couple of years. Now,
when we look at Kieran Tierney, Laura, as a Celtic supporter, how important has he been? Not just the style of play, the fact that he's a fan that's on the pitch. When we go back to the Johnny Doyles of this world, the Tommy Burnses of this world, how important was he to Celtic? Let's have a wee chat about Kieran Tierney.
I do think it was definitely important, but I don't know if he's wanting to move on, then fair play, but definitely important, because you got that, see him sitting in the stands at away games and home games, and if he was injured, it was class just getting to see him involved. So that's definitely with Celtic, but...
And he'll do that again, I would hope.
Probably. Definitely, he'll be back. He'll be back sitting with the fans.
I was with a couple of ex-Celts the other night at an event, and one of them said a text, Tierney saying you left a legend and you can come back a legend. Yeah. And I just think once the dust settles, you've mentioned social media a few times, Eddie, it's littered with bad negative vibes, whenever anybody kind of decides that they want to play somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about your dad's career and, the leg break, and it made a massive impact on him. That could happen at any time.
Of course. And
Tierney's got an opportunity and he's taking it. Yeah. What's your thoughts on it?
My thoughts on Tierney, I wish him all the best. I think he's an amazing example of a Celtic fan, a Celtic player and an ambassador for the club. I wish him all the best wherever he goes. My head starts to think about his injury and stuff like that, and I wonder if he's just got a wee bit of doubt in his head, will I ever get these opportunities if something happens? And who are we to dictate when players leave us, When they come here, all I ask is players to give us 100% and fight for that jersey every game, and Tierney did that every game I watched him in, and he's a class act. He's a class act.
You're right, he did. I seen an interesting tweet. We keep going on about social media, but it's part of life now, Eddie. But it was a farewell, not even a farewell, it was a welcome to Arsenal tweet that he put out, and he quoted Jerry Cinnamon. What's your thoughts on Jerry Cinnamon? Are you a fan?
Jerry Cinnamon blocked me on social media.
What? So what did you do to upset him?
I really respect Jerry Cinnamon for what he's achieved, without any record label and stuff like that. And music's decent, isn't it? It's decent. It's not really somebody I would go and watch or anything like that, but fair play to the guy. He's done great. He's supporting Liam Gallagher and Clarke, isn't he? So that's just a reflection of what the guy's achieved. Do you know what I mean? Somebody had wrote under one of his songs about his lyrics, and I shouldn't have done that, And then I've come on out and said, not really Bob Dylan lyrics, because the guy's name who posted the quote underneath it was Zimmerman.
Right.
So I was talking to him, and Jerry Cinnamon's blocked me for that. So
touchy.
Aye.
Touchy.
I think that's what it's for.
He's maybe feeling threatened.
Tell us a real story.
I was listening to Martin Compson getting interviewed. He says Jerry Cinnamon's a big Celtic man. I kind of had that vibe from him in any case. What's your thoughts, Laura, on Cinnamon? I know you're a big music fan. What was your keen influences back in the 90s, and what's your thoughts on Jerry Cinnamon?
Oasis, definitely, that kind of pulp, and I did like Blur a bit as well. But
you were allowed to, though. It wasn't like us or them.
Aye. But Jerry Cinnamon, he's alright, but I just think it's too young team crowd for me. I think the crowd would do my head in. Like a Cortinas kind of crowd.
I didn't get the Cortinas, by the way. I just couldn't get into them. I don't understand.
No, but if you go, it's that wee young lads. It's a bit too young lad crowd for me. I want to sit in the corner, a wee quiet table kind of thing. But the crowds just look too mad for me.
I mean, you're talking about the Blur on Oasis thing there, and again, a lot of that was manufactured. It was North v South, wasn't it? Yeah. And it was a music press knowing that they could sell a lot of papers. But then I enjoyed both of them. I thought, some cracking Blur albums, and I think Oasis ran out of steam. People say maybe after 2 albums. I thought the first 3 albums were good, but then after that, it was a downward kind of spiral for me.
I can appreciate the later albums now with Oasis. Even I listen back, that's a great song, but at the time I think we were looking too much for that same sound for Definitely Maybe and What's the Story. And after that, looking back, I can appreciate Blur as well, the genius of Blur. And I loved what Damon Albarn did after that with Gorillaz and stuff. I loved that. It was very inventive,
Tell us a wee bit about the band, the guys that you play with and help you to bring these songs together as well. You've mentioned Mark. Who else is involved in that, Eddie?
Sean, who's with us today. And there's a lot of other guys, we're not a band, these guys do their own things. These guys just help me to do this, and we're really close friends anyway, we spend a lot of time together in life and stuff like that. So there's a lot of people, but today it's Sean. He's for Dundee and he's moved down to Glasgow and stuff, and he's been in bands before and supported the View and stuff, and that kind of scene was going on up in Dundee, and he's doing his solo stuff just now. And Mark, he's just been playing since he was 3, I think. He's one of the guys that can do harmonies, play guitar, play bass, play the piano.
It sickens me because I can't play anything. And then people can pick up any instrument and get a tune out of it.
But thank God for the kind of people, because the same, it's encouraged me to do things like this, It's amazing for me to think that I'd be asked to come up to somewhere like this, and sing a song, because I'm not a natural singer and I'm not a musician, so it's just something that I love so much and I've been encouraged to do.
I've seen very interestingly, you mentioned the Mondays before, but there was an acoustic version I wrote for Luck. Yeah. Whose idea was that? That's fantastic. You want a cover to be completely different, don't you?
Yeah, well, we're in the middle of trying to create that. I had a wee kind of hope that maybe we'd be able to do that for today. But I said to Sean the other day, and he says, leave it now, we'll play some safe songs today, and then he was right. But it was my idea when I first, 3-4 years ago, when I was first playing the guitar. It's a song that I love. I love the video for it. It just captures the 90s for me. Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely perfection of the 90s, the video. And I'm messing about a guitar. I can only play a few chords, and I come up with that, but the chords for it and stuff. So we've got we practiced at Mark's last week, so we're getting there, but you'll be the first to hear it once we get it together, because I think it can sound great.
Aye, and you can bring it to the next session we're doing here. You talked about creativity, and again, I might be completely wrong. There might be other groups or groups of fans who are as creative as Celtic fans, but I just think we are creative. We've got a good sense of humour, and there's always another great song just up our sleeve at some point. It could be something about a player, it could be a take on, can't get enough. Where did that come from?
I know.
It's something so obvious as well.
I know.
Proper obvious. Absolutely. Why has nobody else done that?
Where does that creative streak come from then?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think when you've went through so many hard times, you've got to laugh. And laughing yourself through the hard times is the best way to get yourself through hard times. So it's probably that's helped.
We were talking to Jeanette Finlay, talking about statues, and they're obviously raising funds for Anne Gortamore, and she was going on about, the Irish, going on about, the fact that they had nothing. They absolutely had nothing when they came to Britain, and sometimes the community aspect was they would get basically the guitars out and have a sing-song. And I thought that it was almost like the revolutionary aspect of music, the rebel kind of spirit of we're down but we can actually sing and be a community, and there's a massive part of that when you're at Celtic Park, isn't there?
Definitely. Anything that kind of touches you in the heart and stuff, it's always that story, isn't it? The poor have succeeded, and I believe that's Celtic all over, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And you're speaking there about always having to have a sense of humour. It's important, do you know what I mean? And the creativity. You were speaking there, you don't know if there's any other. I don't believe there is any other clubs like Celtic, like with that side of kind of things, It's maybe you go to these teams in South America, you hear about Boca Juniors and stuff like that, I'm not really had much experience of them, but definitely any team I've seen, do you know what I mean, that comes to mind, Celtic's head and shoulders above it, that kind of side of things, certainly with their fans and music, songs, Celtic's unbelievable amount of songs.
Incredible songbook, eh?
Yeah, and the majority about the football. Do you know what I mean? Whereas others can say they've got songs, but not a lot is to do with the football, is it? You know, so it's like we've always had that kind of passion and that kind of, it's like a love story, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? That.
You know, we've spoken about Tierney today and we've spoken about song. As fans of our kind of age group, because I think we're all kind of the same ilk in the same era, but we've seen the introduction of the Green Brigade, which is a fan movement. And how important are they to Celtic? How important are they to the atmosphere at Celtic Park?
They've became massive because things changed, didn't they, when it became seated stadia. You know, I remember when I was going to the football, the old Celtic Park and the jungle, obviously, singing all the time. But you had the Celtic end who was always singing as well, the back of the Celtic end and stuff like that. And the stadium would sing together. Then stadiums became seated and it kind of lost that, didn't it? You know, it wasn't that way anymore where you went in with a group of friends and you started the singing and stuff. You know, you were all spread out and it was maybe taking your partner along or the kids and stuff. You know, it changed. So it was amazing what the Green Brigade brought. And still do bring, you know, and obviously getting the standing area and stuff. Then just seeing the other day, I Want to Be Edward, do you know what I mean? It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. It looked amazing on the video anyway, and it's really important now, you know, that we keep that atmosphere going at Celtic Park, because if you look down in England, you know, there's 70,000, 80,000 in stadiums, and it's not good. No, it's not good.
We sing I Want to Be Edward, and they sing they're up to the knees in fleeing blood. There's a completely different, you know, we're on different ends of the scale when you look at our motivation actually and why we're watching Celtic. Going on to your third song, Eddie, if you tell us a wee bit about that and you know, the meaning behind that for yourself.
Well, the third song was a song I wrote a lot of years ago. My friend was playing guitar, a guy called Hippie, and we come up with this song. It's called It's a Way of Life, and it's a kind of mod term, isn't it? It's a way of life, you know, you hear it quite a lot. And it was just an idea I had in my head, which we got down, and he helped me like with the kind of sound it and stuff like that. And I've managed to, over the years, develop it and take it into the studio and record that. A guy who's been helping me a lot, a guy called Thomas Brumby's away. He's got a band called Ophelia Lies, and they're away touring in Italy just now. And he's got a studio down in Govan Hill in Glasgow. So I've been going there for the last few years, you know, and he's really encouraged me to get songs. And I've managed to get like 7 or 8 tracks down, like, done properly in the studio, you know. So I've got a few more songs I need to record for. But this song, It's a Way of Life, it's really good. It's really kind of, maybe it sounds a wee bit like kind of Clash when it's done electric, a wee bit kind of like the Jam, you know, it was that kind of sound. So it's a song I'm really proud of, and as these guys are so talented, they can adapt it in an acoustic guitar for me, you know, so hopefully it comes across good. We were through there listening to a wee bit of it recorded, it's sounding okay.
From the places that I've been, running away now from the faces that I've seen, making my move now, 'cause I can't last no more, traveling south now, no more pain to endure, to endure. Looking for magic to straighten this shit out. Show me some tricks now, take me on the underground. Waited forever and I'm taking my chance. Something's evolving, I got a life to enhance, to enhance. The sea is rising to my head now. It's a way of life, baby. Soul's on Don't need forgiveness, as it's mine to let go. Gonna get dressed up, I'm the star of this show. Apply for the dance hall, I got a soul that's my own. A place I belong to, 'cause I know where I go, where I go. The sea is rising to my head now. It's a way of life, baby. Soul's on fire, making me sweat now. It's a way of life, baby. People listen on the street now. It's a way of life, baby.
A Celtic way of life, a Celtic state of mind. Eddie Clarke, thank you for coming through to Stirling and speaking to us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much, Paul. Thanks.
A Celtic State of Mind can be found at axom.net. We're sponsored by Fansbet, the betting company by fans for fans.